Okay. So I want to talk to you today about the difference between doing like 15-minute and 20-minute calls and a full on like 60-minute discovery call. It's really up to you what you would like to do for your clients as far as do you want to offer them a 20-minute, 15, 20-minute call or 60 minutes? But I'm going to go over when you typically would. So, a 60-minute call for me, I like to offer those when someone is completely brand new to my space. That means I know from my interactions with them, again, if you follow the connections to clients framework and this is someone who's new to your space, you haven't really had a chance to connect with them, you're doing your own research, right? You're taking a look at the data, realizing they haven't really been opening up your emails, they're not clicking on links, all of those, because we want to do both pieces, right? There's that, a piece of us where is front facing more so like am I in a DM conversations with them? Have they been in my space for a while, right? If not, I typically like to lean on doing a 60-minute discovery call, especially if I sense after one, I never get on a discovery call with anyone, and you shouldn't either unless they are qualified. So there's a reason why I have you walk them through the entire DM process, the DM scripts that are provided for you, why I am also in the trenches with you, really understanding where you are in a DM process is because I don't want you to hop on a discovery call with someone who's not ready to work with you or who's not committed to doing the work now with you. Okay. So the 60-minute call, again, amazing for someone who's new to your space, who's not too familiar with your work. And you're also trying to decide if it's someone that you really want to work with as well. So that's what I really reserve my 60-minute calls for. My 60-minute calls, honestly, are also reserved for clients who I sense from being in a DM conversation that this is someone I actually want to offer one of my more private intensives to. So either this is someone who's going into my proximity container, who I'm considering offering my proximity container to because I know I can provide them that extra layer of support to really help them to fast track what it is that they desire as far as results from their business, along with, of course, supports with anything that they have going on with their life, or someone who is a power to power potential client. And so those are individuals typically who I take on. They already are established business owners. They're looking more for like a soundboard, someone who really will be supporting them emotionally through their journey as they continue to up level. And so for those two specific containers, my proximity container as well as my power to power containers, one, it has a lot to do with close proximity to me. So these individuals are going to be working with me one-on-one. That means they get unlimited access to me on Voxer. They also have access to me, my one-on-one calls with them as well. And so I have to make sure the synergy is there. This is someone I actually want to work with and someone I want to offer private coaching to. So that's the reason why, especially for those containers, I typically like to give it the full 60 minutes. So for you, how this applies to you is if you know this container that you're potentially offering them to is going to be more one-on-one support, right? Where it's going to be you supporting them. You have to decide if this is someone you also want to support for the next 3 months, if that's where your containers is, or the next 6 months, if that's kind of where your container is. So it's not just oftentimes people get on a sales call. And as you know, from being inside this container, that's not what we do. We never get on a call to say, I'm pushing my offer. It's like, do I know that this is someone I want to even offer my services to? Is this someone who will be committed to doing the work? Because I'm going to tell you what, and I know this about each and every single one of you, is I go all in for my clients. Like my private clients get the highest level of service for me because I am in the trenches with them. I want to know everything that's happening because I want to be able to fully support them. And so I need to decide if this is going to be a fit, or I may downsell them into something else. But typically I don't hop on a discovery call unless it's someone that I want to support or I'm considering supporting inside of more of my private intensives. Okay. And that's something for you to also consider as well, especially when you're hopping on a discovery call, is if this is someone who's newer to my space, I'm not really familiar with them. I'm not sure if they will be a good fit myself. I'm trying to get a feel for them. I know if I allot 60 minutes, it gives me enough information, enough time to really get a sense for their energy, get a sense to where they're at, and if I can fully support them, and if they're committed to meeting me halfway and doing the work on their part as well. And so that's something to consider when you're offering like 60 minutes. Um, 15 to 20 minutes, I say I like to offer this typically for someone who is on the verge of maybe joining one of my programs, right? And you can tell from the DM conversation, like they're on the verge of joining a program, but they have some resistance to it. So 15, 20-minute calls, I would typically like to offer for someone who's trying to get a feel out for, like, for example, I have my Soul Aligned Sales program. If someone's trying to get a sense for, hey, like, they would kind of have been in the DMs and they're still kind of unsure. It's like, hey, do you want to hop on a 15, 20-minute call? Would love to, answer any questions that you have. And so that's a great way to do that. And so for me, 15, 20 minutes is perfect. It gives me just enough time to really answer any questions they have. They've already took a look at all my emails. They, have been watching the videos, all that. And part of being a business owner is we look at those data. Those are all very important data points for us, right? So one of the things that you see inside of Soul Aligned Sales is that I am checking my open rates. I'm checking, like, I would click on each individual. That's the reason I have you do like that Trello board with each of your potential clients, is because I want to know exactly where they are on the buyer experience. Is this person someone who's like, I see them clicking, I see them watching videos, and they're probably on the fence about joining the program? That person will be, and I noticed they haven't sent me a DM, even though I sent an email saying, hey, respond back with any questions or send me DM, but I seen they open it, or I see they click it, but they didn't actually send a message. Perfect. This is the person I then am going to have them hop on a 15, 20-minute call with me. Okay. So I'm not offering like my 15, 20-minute call with everyone because I'm a busy mama and I know you are too. But I'm offering to individuals where I have enough data collected to notice that there's someone who has been opening my emails, there's someone who's been watching my videos, there's someone who's perhaps been on my stories. I can track where they are on my Trello board and see that this person would be considered like a hot lead, someone who is very interested in my program, but something's holding them back. And without them being in my DM conversation and without them really choosing to email me, I don't know what that is. Right. I don't know what the hesitancy is. Usually what I like to do first is I'll kind of just drop in on, if I have their Instagram handle, just drop in with a message and just say, just to, greet them and do kind of like following that DM workflow. But if they're just not someone who's active in the DMs, then typically I really like to just get them onto that 15, 20-minute call and just kind of get a feel for what's going on, what's coming up for them, what's causing that hesitancy. Is it the price point? Is it, and I'll tell you what, most of the time, remember we talk about this inside of my pricing objection, is that oftentimes it's not the price point, because I find, for me personally, it's actually easier to sell my clients on like a 5K program than it is to sell them on like a membership. Because and if it was strictly price, that membership in theory would be easier to sell, right? But that's not the case. That's not what I find. It's more so them knowing for themselves that this could work for them. A lot of it has to do with their own personal beliefs and struggle that they're having internally. And so typically that can't be uncovered from me just sending them like a message in the DMs, especially if they're not that active on there, or even via email, but more so when I'm able to connect with them for that 15 to 20 minutes. And so I hope that helps you into understanding when we typically offer the 15, 20-minute call. That's when I typically offer the 15, 20-minute call. Another example of when I may offer the 15, 20-minute call, again, maybe, is I typically don't like to, but if I do a live workshop and people don't close, then I don't want you to get discouraged, because here's the truth. When those live workshop, especially when you have a more intimate gathering of individuals on Zoom, they're not going to necessarily close at the end of the workshop. I don't want you to get discouraged. I want you to follow like the email sequences, doing the follow-up, doing your due diligence, getting into their DMs, doing a personalized workshop email for them, because you'll notice when you do that, that is where a sale actually comes through. It's typically not on the workshop themselves. I know you'll hear like these big gurus who'll give like big numbers and say, I closed this much and like for my live workshop, but they have volume. And most of us don't have volume. We don't have hundreds of thousands of followers. We don't have hundreds of people attending our live workshop. I want that eventually for you if that's something you desire. However, for most of us, we might have maybe 10, 5, 10, 15, 20 people who show up for a live workshop, and that's perfect. That's beautiful. Instead of allowing that to discourage you, I want you to make sure you create and craft those personalized emails. I even go as far as like creating videos for people to like thank them for attending, sending in voice notes, those types of things. Those are the individuals I typically would do if I'm in a DM conversation with them. So let's say they attended a live workshop. I have the email sent out to them. I would actually invite those individuals into a clarity call only after, this is very important, only after I already did the email follow-ups and I already did the DM conversation and they still have questions. They still need a little bit of reassurance. And for whatever reason, they're not comfortable yet, or they don't want to share that in the DM. For the most part, I will say for myself personally, I have been able to close almost every single client in the DMs who go from like a workshop, a live workshop with me who's attended, and then they want the product, right? But they're kind of like going back and forth. For those clients, I have been able to close them just in the DMs without having to hop on a 15, 20-minute call with them. And the reason I don't want you to offer that right off the bat is because the whole purpose of you typically when you have that live workshop is you want to do a one-to-many model. That means you're selling from like you just being there present that one time to a lot of people, right? And you may also be in a space where you're not able to hop on 15, 20-minute calls regularly. And that's the reason you chose to maybe do a live workshop. I'm not sure. But if you're going from a live workshop, I do want you to use that live workshop, do the personalized emails. I have an example of one inside of Soul Aligned Sales. I want you to use that as well as making sure you're in the DMs. Just follow the DM scripts. If you get stuck, ask me inside of Slack, attend a live sales coaching call. Let's get you unstuck because I want you to take them from that live workshop to then nurturing them in the DMs, really getting a feel for it. And then I want you to present them the offer again, because you already presented an offer. Let's figure out what some of their objections are, like what's coming up for them. What's keeping them kind of on the fence, like they're on the border of checking out, but they're unsure. They need just a little bit more support. What is that for them? Let's get a feel for that inside the DMs. If you prefer not to be in the DMs, you absolutely can go ahead and invite them onto that 20-minute call. I just don't want you to keep having to like have more calls, because what I find is if you have someone who's on the fence, you have a clarity call for you with them. I want you to call it that. I want it to be super clear if you're doing a workshop with them that this is a clarity call. Okay. I'm going to answer any questions you have about this specific program. That's very important. Okay. I'm going to answer any questions you have about Soul Aligned Sales. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about the Attract Abundance Academy. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about my Beyond Money Mindset experience, whatever it is. But it has to be super clear that they're only getting on this call to get clarity on the program. This is not them getting on a call to talk about everything. This is not free coaching. Okay. Because what I know to be true is that when you are giving free coaching, you're actually hindering that person's progress because they're going to try to put puzzle pieces together and it's going to create more chaos. I only know that because I've done that. I offer free coaching and people try to piece it together with other things they're trying to do, and it just create more overwhelm and chaos for them. Where it's like, no, let's have you be decided, have me answer all your questions about this specific program, and I'm going to trust you as a self-led leader to decide if this program's right for you. Because your job is not to convince them, to pull them. So that's how I would kind of decide if this is going to be an hour, like a 60-minute discovery call, or if I'm going to do 15 to 20 minutes. So if you have any questions, please let me know inside of the Slack community. For those of you who are private clients, you could always Voxer me as well if you need more clarity. Okay. I will talk to you later, friends, and I can't wait to continue to support you inside of our Slack channel. I'll see you then.